Nobody wants to get up in the middle of winter when it's snowing out. You got to be out of your mind moderately. I even say it to myself as I'm walking out of and I'm in a covered garage, but you're plowing out with a car, and there you go, and it's insane. But you know that it's going to get you to your goal, and when you're done, you're so proud of yourself that you did it. It's those wins, and figure out a real hardcore reason why you're doing things, so that you can be proud of yourself about it. It's not, oh, the bathing suit. Well, what's that bathing suit signify for you? Well, it's feeling good. It's having self-esteem. When your self-esteem's up, you make better decisions. Nobody makes bad decisions when they're, feeling really good about themselves. It's when they're feeling lousy that they do. So all these things is position yourself for success instead of failure. Find out a good time to do exercise. The way I start getting people to go to the gym is I said, if you're afraid of the gym, start walking. If finally, when you get done walking, go to the gym, but drive to the gym. Don't even go in. And they're like, that's silly. I said, well, then you should go in, shouldn't you? Whatever. It's just, you got to.
You're only being logical.
You know what I mean? I'm like, but if you need to drive to the gym because you're scared to death of whatever goes on in the gym, drive there 3 days in a row at the same time. Get in habits. It takes 21 days to get in a good habit and a bad habit. That is the critical point. So fake it till you make it for 21 days, and it'll be part of you. It's just as easy. I think that's one of the things. I know these things, so it's like I don't think I could ever get out of working out. It's just ingrained. But, you start sitting there, and I mean, my physical therapists are like, you got to sit tight, man. And I'm like, well, and they told me what I could do. I mean, I'm doing the recumbent bike, which is a seated bike, and I'm treadmilling. Even though, I have my arm in a sling, it's like I got to move.
But you're being smart about it.
Oh, yeah.
Last year I twisted my ankle, and I said I could not run. So I was running within 5 days, and I spent the next 16 weeks dealing with various problems on both legs because I couldn't run right, and I'm overcompensating.
Absolutely.
And if I had just laid off the ankle and done some biking for 2 weeks, I would have gotten... People get stupid. People get obsessive.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is, you divert to logic. And also another real good tip is give the suggestions or the advice to other people that you would take yourself. If you'd look at somebody and be like, you're kind of pushing it a little bit, you should probably be on a bike, do the same for yourself. Give yourself the same respect as you'd give everybody around you with that type of advice.
And that's an interesting thing. We talked about this a little earlier. It's like if you're addicted to artificial sweeteners, if you think you are, which I might be, and I should probably do something about this.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Would you let your kid put equal on his on a bowl of cornflakes? Well, number one, he doesn't need to have cornflakes sweetened. That in itself is a problem. If you think everything has to be sweetened, that's a challenge. Everything has its own, you do not have to approach everything like it has to be fixed. You don't have to salt every bite of food you're eating. These are like, there has to be a lot of these ingrained kind of sick thoughts people have.
Well, it's the crazy thing is that corn syrup is in so many of the products just because corn is our major product that there are neurochemicals in your brain, and they're similar to drugs in the addiction of sugar. I detox people from sugar in the first 3 days, and they're like, oh, well, how bad's it going to be? I said, depends on how bad you are. I said, it's your detox, not mine. And somebody came back to me with like, because we touch base the first 3 days just to make sure that they're doing really good with the system. And they're like, I can't believe this, and I'm cranky. And I said, well, it's your body telling you that obviously it was a little more dependent on this little substance than you thought. And they're saying a lot of the research as far as, with the physical addiction to sugar and, brain chemistry is there.
So there's a lot of stuff going on in our heads that if you're not making really conscious decisions, your body's making a lot of decisions for you that you don't even know about. If you're sitting around saying, boy, do I crave a cup of coffee, you might not even be craving coffee. You might be craving the sugar you got in there.
Absolutely. Or most of the time, people who say they're hungry all the time, they're dehydrated. They're really dehydrated and want water. So it's just really checking in. And the thing is the body will do whatever you tell it to do. So if you get it hooked up on sugar, it'll say, okay. And then when you take it away, it'll go, but that was plan A. What are we doing plan B now? So you got to teach it a new plan over 21 days.
And if people check you out, you go to the DeviCenter.com or get in touch with you. You can give them a plan on how to approach that.
Oh, absolutely. We are definitely multidimensional. Somebody comes in for one thing, and I just, take an opportunity to leave little seeds, and everybody, I make sure that they read my book with, they're starting something just so that they kind of get positioned with it. It's you got to make it a plan, and you can't. You need a coach. People wouldn't go out in a sport and play without a coach. It's the same thing, and this has the biggest prize of all. It's your health.
We talk about that a lot. If you like watching the Patriots, do you think Tom Brady goes out there and just wings it? They have gone through. Everyone on that team has gone through so much training to have that. Each play is so well diagrammed. You cannot. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail is my favorite line, but it's true. If you don't have a plan, how can you possibly succeed?
Absolutely. And the biggest thing, too, is having a coach is you are the product of the 5 people that are closest to you. So if that scares you, then that means you got to back up. But you'd also, can find out other people to be around. People, all of a sudden, they'll find themselves coming to the office and having their mood turned around. It's like, and we'll repel Debbie Downers for sure. They'll either come on board and be happy, or they're like, this place is just way too much. It's just kind of funny. But, it's an open forum, and I have people who on the weight loss system, they're talking to other people, and they're really educating. I just sit back, and I'm like, talk to any of my patients. You don't need to talk to me right now. The initial, and they'll have people out. We have, before and after pictures, all these things that everybody's just getting what they really want. And all of a sudden, they're just amazed at, how many doctors can say their patients would get on the phone with any of their other patients or new patients at any time. I can. I just, it's one of the coolest things ever, and they're more militant than I am because they've had the change recently, so it's hot. It's one of those things where they're hot on the path to really be like, hey, by the way, you need to do this.
Well, something, that's one of the phrases that I have in my own little personal club. You can't keep it unless you give it away.
Yep.
And it's true. If you want to be inspired by what has helped you, give it to someone else. Fire them up too.
Yeah, I mean that's amazing. I really haven't heard that term, and I think it's great because that's what I base my whole practice on.
Yeah.
You get a piece of the dream every time, and you get to see it, and that. I mean, I had somebody today that started out the system, and second meeting because we went and did a talk at their office. She said, "I think you saved my life," and I said, I mean, that was out of the blue. She said, "You have no idea how bad it is for me right now," and she goes, "And you just gave me a plan." And, it was like my associate doc and I both, as I'm getting the chills, it's like just to be that person in somebody's life that you've never met before is unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
And but it happens.
Yep, all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a lucky man.
You are. Again, if you want to get in touch with Dr. Jonathan Yalowchuk, you can go to DeviCenter.com. His offices are in Weymouth. Chiropractic, weight loss, wellness, full approach. Doc, I'm going to, if it's okay with you, I want to have you back often to discuss.
Absolutely.
Because you have so much inspiration inside of you.
And it's information and inspiration. So if I can get it out somewhere, I can probably, nap a little bit more.
It's a pleasure to talk to you, Jonathan.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you.